It's time now to tackle the headline, and if round one of AFL means one thing, it's some dramatically early free agency calls. Ralphie, this is right in your wheelhouse. We love going early on this kind of thing.
We talked about leadership groups. We talked about all sorts of topics. We said trade, and free agency.
This feels like the earliest we may have ever gone, but it's a bit like opening round. It just gets earlier and earlier.
It's never too early.
And earlier, that's right. Now, there's some big names, though, on this free agency list this year. Of course, Lachie Neale has been spoken about so much over the summer, but he sort of leads the pack, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think he'd like to stay. Now, obviously, it might be really hard for him, as it turns out, if he can't get enough time with his young children at this stage, despite what seems to be a really challenging family situation. I think both of the parents are trying to make the best of it for his two young kids. And so I think he wants to win flags. Now, it may well be that he's going for a four-peat. That'd almost be impossible to pass up. But, yeah, I think he will start the season saying, that's what I want to do. And if it gets impossible, he was the one that spoke to Fremantle a couple of years ago, 2021, and said, hey, I'm keen to come back. That didn't happen in the end. And so I think that line of communication is open. What do you think, Corbin? I mean, Freo, you can never have too many good players, so they'd ask.
Absolutely. And then, you know, if they're trying to drive a bargain, see what, if he doesn't leave on a free agency, say they try and force a trade and get something back, you'd think the Eagles would also then have the best possible hand to get something done if Brisbane wants something in return for him. I think the other thing with it, this is going to run the distance, isn't it? Like people, yeah, we can sit here and try and preempt and everything else, but really until he knows what the year looks like this is new for him. So he doesn't know how much time he's going to spend back there. It's one of the longest flights in the country, Brisbane to Perth. So how's he going to make it all work? Is he going to see enough of his family? So I think until he actually understands what the year's going to look like and how that's going to pan out, I think the decision on the footy and what happens will be sort of made at the end of it.
You know what Brisbane used to do? They used to come down on Lee Matthews and they'd fly the chartered plane at low altitude. Don't worry about the rest of the players.
I remember the low
Get him back over there. But, you know, they used to have the hypoxicator, all those different things. Yeah, get him on the charter jet back and forth with the kids. That's the only priority. Keep him playing for as long as you can, given he looked electric in the opening round.
The low altitude years. It was a simpler time, wasn't it? Hey, sticking with Brisbane and speaking of potentially gettable free agents, I mean, Zack Bailey is one. His family remain back in South Australia. He's another one who could potentially, you know, they're trying to squeeze a lot of big names on a lot of big money into this list. And unfortunately, guys like him are ones that may return home. And
we've seen this, haven't we, already? I mean, last year with Starcevic obviously moving on, Lachie went to Adelaide. So what do they call it? The curse of more, or where you know, players that play in premierships want more, and you got to try and fit them all in. So I could absolutely see a world where, you know, that eventuates at the end of the year. As much as he'd love to stay and as much as Brisbane would love to keep him, you know, you can't, as Lauren said, fit them all in. I'm
very strong that he still wants to stay. So of course this is going to drag out. His manager Anthony McConville would do very well to just try and see what those offers are, and it may be that he, probably like Hugh McCluggage, waits until the mid part of the season. He's got all the offers there. It might get him an extra couple of $100,000 on the open market. Is he a $1.68 million player? But you know what? Him playing midfield is a bit like Naz Wanganeen-Miller. You get tagged every week. So I think he wants to stay, and I think Brisbane will find the shekels to allow him to do that.
And speaking of blokes who get attention every week, of course, Zack Butters. Attention not only from opposition teams, but attention from media to no doubt follow him throughout this year, isn't it? It goes without saying.
Yeah, so even listening to him again, he talked about, you know, it was very clear to me that the club wouldn't trade me at the end of last year. So, you know, that's probably what he wanted to do. When Chad Corn says he's 99% sure that a player he's spent the last however many years with wants to move on, I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? One experienced player manager said to me today he'd be staggered if he didn't get to the Bulldogs, but can the Bulldogs give him that money, $1.8 million a year? Will other clubs offer 4 first-round picks? Because it'll be a trade rather than free agency that Port would match a bid. That goes deep, and every single Victorian club, apart from Carlton, who have Cody Walker picks tied up, will have a crack at him.
He could be a Bulldog. Bulldog Buku tried to become Blue Buku, has ended up staying at the Whitten Oval and has looked fantastic in the first 2 games, the pre-season match and their opening round. What do you see of him?
Well, he's going to have great options, isn't he? Past his prologue, as you said, he wanted to go last year. Ultimately, it wasn't able to happen. But if he keeps playing the footy that he has been, and throughout the pre-season he had that electric game, I think, which you covered, and was all over it inside the defensive 50. So I imagine he would be a very attractive prospect for many clubs. You could play him back, you can move him forward. He's such a flexible guy, and the fact that now it's really on his terms, it's his opportunity at the end of the year should he want to go. And likewise, if the Bulldogs want to keep him, they're going to have to try and squeeze him in, and they've got a lot of good players that they're paying. So
the Dog didn't eat Bailey Fritsch's homework. It actually ate him. He will play in round 1, though, after an infection. I'm not quite sure which sort of dogs he tried to separate, but I think they were his aunts. Melbourne and Bailey are in a beautiful spot. So if it is that they really are a long way from contention, potentially he might leave for a significant offer elsewhere. They'd get you'd imagine, a late first-round pick for him. If they're flying and he's playing great football, he can stay as well. So they're just in that little feeling-out period, but a great situation for him there as well. You think Briggs stays. As I said, Amati would like to stay. Jordan Butts, lots of suitors, including the Western Bulldogs last year. And Mitch Lewis, very keen to stay, wants to play great football early on, same as Joel Amati. Get the right contract. I think that he'll be a one-club player at Hawthorn for life.
All names that I know you'll keep us well across here at the Midweek Tackle Desk. Thanks to both of you. Thanks for joining us on Tackle the Headline. We'll see you next time.